All right. Hello again, it's Jonathan. So I'm really excited to share this next update with you. I've added basically scrolling. Um, there's it's not complete, but I've made quite a few quite a few changes. I also added a large number of the background modes. I think 0 through 5. I think there's some kind of bug in background mode 5 still, but it does kind of sort of work. So sometimes it depends on the game, it seems. But I'm really excited to share this one with you, and I am going to basically take you through different versions of the build. The first version that I have loaded up here is basically vertical scrolling only, no horizontal scrolling at all. Vertical scrolling is actually quite a bit easier relative to horizontal scrolling, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the vertical scrolling only, and then I'm going to show you vertical and horizontal scrolling. Now, with the vertical scrolling, I have both coarse and fine vertical scrolling implemented. So, coarse being tile level scrolling or tile resolution scrolling, and fine being line resolution scrolling for vertical scrolling. And for horizontal scrolling, I actually don't have fine implemented at all yet, although I do have the foundation work there. I have all the shift registers and stuff set up. It's just a matter of indexing the right pixel, but I haven't implemented that yet. So that I'm not going to show, but for the horizontal scrolling, I do have the coarse horizontal scrolling. So it'll be interesting for you to see what the difference is with when you don't have, what it looks like when you don't have fine horizontal scrolling implemented. Basically, you only have tile resolution. So when it's scrolling horizontally, it'll basically snap to a tile boundary, and it doesn't look really that great. I mean, it works, but it doesn't look as good when you don't have the fine scrolling implemented. And you'll be able to see the difference between the hardware and the software emulator, because I'm going to run all of these side by side. And then another thing is I'm going to show you in the third and last build. So first build is going to be vertical only, both coarse and fine. Second build is going to be vertical, coarse, and fine with horizontal coarse scrolling with no horizontal fine scrolling. And then the third build is going to be all of that, but then with screen mirroring. So either like with the background size register in registers 2107 through A, you can set the background size, and that will either give you can give you up to a 4 screen mirroring implementation. So you have both like 4 quadrants of with a screen in each quadrant. So you have screen 0 through 3 or A through D, depending on however you want to say it. But so in the first two, there is no basically that mirroring or the background size is not implemented. So what you're going to see is you'll see screen 0, for example, being repeated where it shouldn't be repeated, and I'll point those out to you. So and then when I do in the third build that I show you where mirroring is implemented properly, where it has the correct logic depending on the background size, you'll see a huge difference in quality. So alright, so let's get started. So the first thing I want to do is go through just run the character test. Now, in the previous video when we ran the character test, it didn't, the very first background mode 0 didn't move at all where it should be actually moving. So I'm going to go ahead and just run that. Okay, so what you saw right there was the vertical scrolling happened, but you notice on the software emulator, what's really supposed to happen is the color is supposed to change from red, green, blue, and white, I think. But what you saw was all four screens were all white on my emulator, and that's because it's always showing screen, I guess screen 3 or something like that. I have to think about it, but you're always seeing the same screen over and over and over again. Okay, and that's why the color doesn't change, because in software emulator they actually have it where obviously the background size is implemented, so you're seeing 4 different screens. Most of these don't work. I think that's actually mode 5 right there. I don't know why my stars look like that. It might be a tile size issue, I'm not sure. That's mode 7. Definitely don't have that implemented. So that should be, once this is done, that should be it. Alright, so let's go ahead and do a different one. So I'm going to go ahead and load up the Game Genie ROM, and I'm not going to bother loading it up in the software emulator. But this has, on the very first screen, the company logo screen, it scrolls the logo basically down from the top. So I'm just going to load it. Now, what you saw there was, really what they had is they had the screen up above, but because I don't have the proper screen size implemented, what happened was you actually saw screen 0, it being repeated, basically. So when they started scrolling it down, you saw the one on the bottom being scrolled off the bottom, and then it finally came down from the top. So that's incorrect behavior, but that's what's happening. Normally there would be 2 screens. There would be a screen 0 and a screen 1, and they would set the size, I think you set it to 10, for basically scrolling vertically. And yeah, so it would be all black on screen 1, so you wouldn't see that screen being duplicated there normally. And then, so a better example would be, let's see, Castlevania 4. Let's load that up. Go ahead and load that here. Okay, so right there, and load it up. Okay, pause this. Try and sync these up here. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is screen 0 is being repeated, so this shouldn't be here. Yeah, you should actually be seeing a different screen down here. I'm not sure what that was. That's on a subscreen, or probably on a subscreen, but I still don't have subscreens implemented yet. So there's no vertical scrolling here, but you get the idea. These right here, because for the clouds, because horizontal scrolling isn't implemented, these are just in a default, probably 0 position, basically. So now we can see the text. I believe in the previous video, the text would just basically appear. It would just appear out of nowhere, but now because we have horizontal scrolling, or I'm sorry, vertical scrolling, it's actually scrolling up to the bottom like it should. So vertical scrolling is working, horizontal scrolling is not even implemented at all, so... But vertical scrolling looks a lot better. Okay, so the last one I'm going to do on this is going to be, let's see here, probably Turtles in Time. So let me go ahead and load that one. And again, the audio you're hearing is from my FPGA. It's not, I have the sound muted on SNES 9X, so alright, so let's do Turtle Time real quick. Okay. Pause this. Try and get these synced up. So now vertical scrolling is implemented, but again, the screen size is not set up properly. So you're seeing, what you're seeing is the screen 0 being repeated over and over. Okay, so horizontal scrolling is implemented, so the city's not moving in the background. Actually, I did want to do one more. Let's do... One thing I did notice about Turtles in Time, actually, when they're fighting, let me see if I can get it to happen here. When he throws the guy towards the screen, let's see if it happens in this build. No, it doesn't happen. Well, I'll show you later. Let's see. It doesn't happen in this build. So I actually did want to load. And obviously with the Konami logo, that didn't used to move at all. So that's the vertical scrolling right there. Load up Legend of Zelda. Really quick, because that uses 4-screen mirroring, and wanted to show you what that looks like with vertical scrolling only. Okay, let's see. Sync it up here. Okay, so we can see that the background is scrolling vertically, but not horizontally. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start this. So, already got one on there. start and start. Now another thing that is happening here that's interesting is that notice that my hardware emulator doesn't have none of the furniture, you know, or the pots or the chest or anything are being shown in the room. And again, that's because I don't have horizontal or any screen mirroring implemented. So horizontal scrolling or any screen mirroring implemented, and you'll see later on once I do add those in the other builds, all of the furniture in the house will appear. So go ahead and I'm trying to match the button presses on the keyboard and my SNES controller. It's hooked up to my FPGA. I want to actually get out of the house. She sure does talk a lot. Bye. Okay. Right. So let's go down and over. I'm not going to get the lantern, but I don't care. Okay, so we have vertical scrolling without horizontal scrolling and without screen mirroring. So what you're seeing is just screen 0 being repeated where normally it would be at another screen. For example, screen 1 or 2. So I'm going to go ahead and go down. So you see, I mean, if I go up and down, it does scroll vertically, but you just keep getting the same background over and over. It just repeats. Which is not normally what you'd be seeing. Is you'd be seeing these background tiles, which are on a screen, screen 2. So we go over to the right. I don't have horizontal scrolling, so when he moves to the right, nothing is changing, and normally it should be. Please stop talking. Okay, we're gonna go up till we. Okay. And so now, again, we're just getting that same screen over and over again, but the some of the tiles have changed because it basically wrote new tiles to VRAM for this new area of the map. Okay. So that's the last one I wanted to show you now on this build. So now I want to actually load up the next build. Okay, so I've loaded up the FPGA with the next build that has both vertical, coarse, and fine, and then horizontal, coarse scrolling only, no fine scrolling. So I want to run the character test again. So let's go down here, press start. Okay, so now what we're seeing is we saw it move both vertically and horizontally, right? But we still didn't see the 4 different colors, and that's because it just repeated screen 0 over and over again, because that screen mirroring still isn't implemented in this version. We will see the Super Mario demo background actually scroll, but notice because there's no fine, so there's two things. There's no fine scrolling, so it snaps to tile boundaries, and then if you want to scroll back in the video, you'll also notice that the screen 0, again, it was just repeating over and over, so a lot of the background tiles weren't right as it was scrolling horizontally. They were a lot different from the actual correct implementation in the software emulator. So now I thought we would do, since we have both horizontal and vertical scrolling, even though we don't have mirroring yet, I wanted to load up Legend of Zelda again. Let's do that. Okay. Where is it? So let's go ahead and start. And yes. So I'm not sure what this I don't know if you noticed, but the letters are, well, I'm sure you noticed, but the letters are kind of I don't know what they're doing. I'm not sure what that is, if that's a Sprite 0 hit issue or what, but I'm not worried about it right now. Okay, so now we have vertical and horizontal scrolling, but we still don't have the screen mirroring, so still missing all of the furniture in the house. I guess Link just lives in a box. An empty box. But it's still interesting to see the progression now that we have both vertical and horizontal scrolling. Okay, so let's go down, over, and down. Okay, so what you're seeing here, this cross right here, is it's all screen 0 being repeated. So right now, the horizontal and vertical background offset registers in 21.0D through 14, they're set to a particular value based on where Link is on the map. Normally what you'd be seeing, obviously, is like this ridge over here, but this ridge and this upper right corner and this lower right corner are from a different screen. They should normally be coming from a different screen, but that logic isn't implemented yet. So what you're seeing is all different parts of screen 0 being repeated. Okay, let's go ahead and come on. So this is the lower left corner of screen 0. This is the bottom right corner. This is the lower left, and this is the upper left of screen 0. So let's go ahead and down. So see, so now when I go right, the screen does scroll to the right, but it's just the wrong tiles. So okay, so now you've got screen 0 being repeated here, but it's a different set of tiles because it loaded a different set of tiles into VRAM for this area of the map. Okay. Alright, so I don't think there was anything. Oh, yeah. We should load Earthworm Jim. Let's see here. That has both horizontal and vertical scrolling and doesn't require any user input because it has the attract demos. Let's load this up. Load this over here. Alright. Load. Okay, let me unpause this. Wait till he screams there. Try and get this synced up properly. Okay. I think the first attract demo only has horizontal scrolling, but the other ones have both horizontal and vertical, so. Still not sure what that glitching is on the bottom. Again, I'm not worried about it right now, but so again, you can see it's still screen 0 repeating over and over because this shouldn't be here, right here, this moon or whatever this is. and you can see this galaxy in the background repeating, which shouldn't be there. And you can see right there in that black line, that's the screen flipping, basically going back to the left-hand side of the screen. It's really cool to see, you know, and, you know, understand what the Super Nintendo and the NES works the same way. So this is a big big mess. It's all screen 0 just over and over and over again. So you can see everywhere where the screen, like everywhere where it clips like that. Well, so it's kind of it's interesting in this one because you can actually see the game loading different tiles as he moves to different areas of the map, because he can't store all of them. It's changing the tile map as it goes, but you can see where the screen borders are basically when you don't have screen mirroring implemented. So yeah, this one looks like complete garbage. Okay, so I think that's really everything. Yeah, pretty much. So, alright, so I'm going to go ahead and load up the latest version, which has screen mirroring. Okay, so FPGA is now loaded with the version that has screen mirroring implemented, and it has it for all 4 different background sizes. And I haven't really checked this for bugs. I've loaded up a number of games just to look at them, and they look pretty good. So I think it's at least pretty darn close to right. If it wasn't right, it would be pretty obvious, because the tiles would be messed up. But so we're gonna see now when we run the character test is we'll actually see all 4 different colors when it does the mode 0 background test. Okay, so there's our red, green, blue, and white. Sprites aren't going to be on there because I don't have sprites implemented. And I'm just going to wait until it shows the Super Mario World demo. This, I believe, is windowing here, which I don't have implemented. So again, there's no fine scrolling, but now we don't have screen 0 repeating all the time. So now we're seeing all of the tiles as they should be. Okay. So let's see, we will load, I'm not going to wait for that to finish, let's go ahead and load Super Castlevania 4. Okay, so now we have the screen mirroring, so we're seeing screen 1 at the bottom. We're seeing the proper tiles, basically, from the other screen. Notice also now that the clouds, which were in a default position, well, the 0 position because the horizontal offset was being ignored because horizontal scrolling wasn't implemented. They're now not on the screen because they hadn't yet been scrolled in. So again, you can see the clouds snapping to 8-bit tile boundaries instead of scrolling very smoothly on a pixel or dot resolution basis. So this is cool because now we have both the vertical and the horizontal scrolling working with screen mirroring. So we're also not seeing the weird clipped screen edges where clouds just disappear because we're not seeing the right tiles being rendered like we did on the previous build. Okay, so let's go ahead and do, how about, oh, the other one I could do is, yeah, I'll do, just because it's really quick, do the Game Genie ROM. Now what you're going to see is, remember that first logo? See, now it just scrolls in from the top like it should. Okay, there wasn't that additional Game Genie, you know, the repeated screen down at the bottom that kind of scrolled off the bottom when it came in from the top. That wasn't there, and that's because the screen mirroring is implemented. Another thing that actually looks a lot better, which I haven't shown yet, is Equinox. Oh, it's much better now. Go ahead and load that one up. Equinox really looks like total garbage if you don't have screen mirroring implemented. Even if you have vertical and horizontal scrolling, it looks like junk. If you don't have screen mirroring implemented. This is all mode 7, so that's why my screen is black. Try and get these in sync here. That's pretty good. Yeah, the horizontal fine scrolling will make a big difference. And it's probably a little hard for you to tell because I've only let's see here. Let's load up Legend of Zelda. This, I don't know, it's probably either, I think this is probably like requires 16 by 16 tiles or something like that. So with Legend of Zelda, you're going to see again a huge difference because now we're actually going to see the correct tiles. So it'll look much better. Okay, start. Alright, so big differences here. We see all of the furniture in his house now. Or his father's house, whatever. The chest, the pots are all there. And that's because we actually have the proper screen, background screen, or tile map, screen or tile map, whatever you want to say it, being displayed. Okay. So I'm actually going to play this one quite a bit. Let's go down and over and up. Okay, so we got the lamp. And we can actually throw some pots. Okay. Let's get out of the house. Okay, so we actually see the proper. We're actually seeing the proper tiles. Now remember, before it was clipping, you'd see this like 4 bars right here where it was clipping to the other screen, or basically repeating screen 0 over. Okay. Yes, 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 I got it, I got it, I got it. So we actually throw some of these. Over. It'll be so much nicer when I actually have some sprites on the screen. Okay. At least get our sword. Yes, 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 yes. Less talk, more action. Alright, so. So, the reason that the software emulator has a more dim tile set, I'm 99% sure, I haven't looked into it or studied it at all, but I'm 99% sure that has to do with color addition or subtraction, which I don't have implemented. So, in any case, so that's Legend of Zelda. Let's see, what else did I want to show? How about turtles? I can just show turtles again. Move that up. Okay. I think I got that pretty good. So now with the screen mirroring, the intro is going to look much better. Not sure what background mode that is. Actually, it might be mode 7. Should explain why I showed absolutely nothing at all. So now the city's scrolling, because we have horizontal scrolling, but it's really choppy because don't have fine scrolling implemented. So it should now, whenever he throws an enemy at the screen, I thought this was interesting, you'll actually see him on my hardware emulator. Just for like 1 frame, you'll see his face plastered up against the screen. I think he does it pretty. There, see? That is maybe like 2 frames. I thought that was cool. Hopefully, I don't know, 10 frames per second. I don't know if my screen recorder captured it, but should at least be able to see one of them. I guess we'll do Earthworm Jim again, just so you can see. Trying to get these synced. Earthworm Jim. This one still looks pretty bad, even with the screen mirroring, I think. The other demos look better. I'm really not sure what's going on there, but yeah, I'm not really worried about it. This does look like a really fun game. I don't know if I've mentioned in other videos, but I actually didn't have a Super Nintendo when I was a kid, which I'm pretty bummed out about. There's a lot of games, like classic games, I've never. Well, I guess I'm kind of catching up now because most of them are on the DS, and I've been playing them on there. But yeah, I never had a Super Nintendo. I have one now, though. Unfortunately, the software emulator is behind now because I kept it paused too long, but you can see the background with the screen mirroring looks way better. No more tile pop-ins, and all the tiles are right. So yeah, it looks good. I don't think there was anything else particularly interesting, but that should give you a basic idea of this. This attract demo looks way better too with the screen mirroring. So yeah. All right, well, I think that's it. I probably am not going to make a video for fine horizontal scrolling because it's not really going to add much. It'll just be a lot smoother when it scrolls. So, yeah, I think that's it. So, I hope that was interesting for you, and I hope you learned something. So, I learned a lot implementing it. So, yeah. All right. I will talk to you later. Bye.